when you look at it, what's the most important? What is the most or are the most important areas for the Browns to upgrade if they're going to be legitimate contenders? What do they need to do to this roster to be there with the top teams in the AFC?
They need to put Miles in position to win Defensive Player of the Year, which means he needs to be utilized and specialized much more. We should not have to talk about Myles Garrett leading the league in double teams again. That should be something that we're trying to actively avoid, is Myles Garrett leading the league in double teams. Because I think since he's been in the league and played full seasons, he's been the leader in double teams. It's been ridiculous, at least per game. So we got to do something to try to eliminate that. Obviously, it's hard with Myles Garrett. People are going to adjust and want to double team him no matter what. But you still got to find a way to keep that number down. I'm not saying keep him out the top 5 of double teams. That's unavoidable. He's Myles Garrett at the end of the day. But keep him out of number 1. You know what I mean? We got to do more to put him in one-on-one situations. And part of doing more is having more options and having more threats on the defensive line. So I would love to see this team invest some resources in that defensive line to make sure that it's not as simple as, we'll just rotate everything over to Myles and not worry about everything else. I want their lives to be a lot more difficult. I want offensive coordinators and offensive line coaches to be tearing their hairs out because they don't know who to prioritize on this defensive line other than Myles Garrett and how they're going to split and roll these protections over. That's the goal. If you can do that, your coverage is going to be fine because you have really good corners, decent linebacker play. I'm not worried about that as much as I'm worried about what's going on up front. But if you have that, that's the stuff. That's the type of defense that the 2019 49ers had that took them all the way to the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo. And then on the offensive side of the ball, maybe just get you a red zone threat, a bigger target, somebody in there, maybe a more receiving style running back to kind of pepper in and switch up the flow with that game, because right now it's just hammer and hammer. Maybe you need a little bit of hammer and a little bit of dash in that backfield to throw linebackers off, because I think that's part of the reason why linebackers aren't biting as much. And if you get all of that going, these are small adjustments. Miles said it best. You're just tightening the screws, adding some pieces here. We're not renovating the house. The house is made. The house is fine. We're just tightening some screws and making sure everything's in order. And if you can get that going, you can see easily how this team can have a really good defense and a really good offense. And Dave, if a team has a really good defense and a really good offense, I feel really good about their hopes. Now, again, K. York might, I don't know what K. York does in that equation, but they at least tried something, right? That. It's not like they didn't try. If K. York is bad, it's just you tried, it didn't work out. But that's not even hard to fix too, because you can cut them and find a better kicker on the street sometimes. That's just how kicker works. But again, you have a really good offense, really good defense. I feel really good about the team's future. You know what I mean? That's the general rule of thumb.